Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is for you. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for joining me yet again for another episode of Owning Your Sexual Self. Happy, happy, happy to be here with you today. We are about 8 weeks out now from the Her Retreat, which is happening in Tampa, Florida. And I am just so fucking excited, you guys. I can't even tell you how just grateful and inspired and uplifted I felt throughout this whole process. It has been a journey. It has been a roller coaster so far of the highs of getting people to say yes and committing and jumping in and saying yes to themselves into this experience, and then the lows of the imposter syndrome that gets to show up here and that I get to work through, of who am I to be doing a retreat like this? What do I have to offer to people? What can I actually teach people? And it's just, I'm reminded daily through my one-on-one clients, through my friends, my colleagues, my husband, that I have a lot to offer. I do. And to be able to put so many things that light me up into a weekend long experience. We are getting in on Thursday. So we'll have Thursday evening together, all day Friday, all day Saturday, and then Sunday morning together. And then we would depart Sunday afternoon. And just I actually have a women's circle coming up tonight, and I think about just the experiences that I've been able to offer women through these women's circles and the growth that people have had, or even through my Reiki sessions, which I'll actually be offering Reiki sessions at the retreat as well, for women, kind of in the off time and when we're in our downtime if they want to. And it's yeah, again, I feel grateful, I feel loved, I feel seen in being able to do this work, and being able to look at what I'm able to do and create and offer and give in just an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours at these women's circles, to put a magnifying glass on that and to expand that over the course of, let's say, 3 days in total at this Her Retreat. Like, I'm overjoyed. I have worked many hours like putting together this. I've meditated, I've done breath work, I've done some sex magic around this, calling in and asking the universe, like, what needs to happen this weekend? What do I need to be able to offer? Because I have a million different things that I could teach and share at this retreat, but it's like, what is it when I think of her? Honor, embrace, reclaim. What are the activities? What are the experiences that I want to make sure are included in this weekend? And then again, doing that own self-work for those downloads to come to me. Just last week in a breathwork session, I had another thing come to me, which I'll be talking about here in a few weeks, or a few days rather, in an Instagram post. So if you don't follow me on social media, I'm at the Rachel Main on Instagram, TikTok, Rachel Main on Facebook, all the things. And you're going to see, like, I'm going to be talking about this retreat more and more, because I I'm so fucking pumped for it. And our calls, which the feminine archetypes, that's what we're talking about today. We have 6 weeks together, even leading up to the retreat experience. So starting on, let me look at my calendar here. Yeah, starting on September 5th. So that's the first Tuesday of September. We are having calls every Tuesday evening leading up to the retreat. And so it's not going to be an experience where you're walking into this retreat, you're walking into Tampa and your first time meeting these women. That's not what I wanted this to be. I wanted for the women that are saying yes to this, I wanted them to already have a vibe with each other and a rapport with each other, and to experience some shit together already virtually, leading up to then this in-person experience that we're having in just a few months. So that's why I decided to focus on the feminine archetypes. And these calls they're not so much of like a training call. They're going to be embodiment calls. So as I'm speaking about the archetypes today, I'm going to share a little bit about each one with you. And if you're considering coming to the Her Retreat, you're going to get everything I'm talking about in the archetypes right now, you're going to get that in a embodied experience, to where you're going to be able to tap in to these different archetypes, these different energies within your own feminine persona, together in a safe container with other women that are wanting to do the same thing. And so that's kicking off the retreat experience, this container, this space of other women here investing in themselves, growing in themselves, putting the work into to really better their lives and to better their experience here on earth while we're here. And I've talked about this before, but just in my past experiences with retreats, like, there are women that I have been able to connect with through experiences like this that I still talk to on a regular basis, even though they live halfway across the globe, some of them. And that is just, that is something that is really, really special to me. These moments in these memories that I've been able to create with these extraordinary women. And so now I'm giving that back to you. I'm giving that, I'm giving this experience as an option to you. Your only responsibility is just to say yes. That's it. Your responsibility is to say yes to yourself, yes to growth, yes to becoming her, yes to loving yourself, investing in yourself, accepting yourself, all of that. Just say yes. That's it. All right. So without further ado, the feminine archetypes. Really pumped. I learned about these again in a retreat experience that I went to and went through with my mentor. And we got to do the same sort of experience. Like, I'm really structuring it off of that experience that I had because I really, really loved it so much. A couple of my experiences with her, actually, with Alexa Bowditch, who you know and know I love so much and I've heard before on the podcast. But when Danny and I did the couples retreat, we had calls leading up to that in-person experience. We had my feminine embodiment retreat. We had these archetype calls leading up to that. And so I've not only been on the receiving end of the archetypes, but also on the giving end of the archetypes. I've shared these with clients, one-on-one clients that I've worked with. I've talked about some of these archetypes at women's circles that I've led. I've embodied these archetypes on my own daily adventures and through my own solo practices. So these are definitely something that is really special to me. And I'm excited to be able to share with these with you, and to be able to, again, give the women that are coming to the her experience and the her retreat, just like a more embodied experience when it comes to these archetypes. So a little bit about the feminine archetypes. So these are actually rooted in psychology and mythology. And archetypes are universal symbols or patterns that exist in the collective unconscious. And they were actually coined by psychologist Carl Jung. So you can Google these, you can look for more information on these if you want to. But they're not just like these woo spiritual things that have been made up. Again, there is psychology involved behind them. And the feminine archetypes represent different aspects of the feminine psyche and the feminine personality. And we're going to talk about some of them, but we're going to cover the maiden, we're going to cover the mother, we're going to cover the wise woman, the seductress, the huntress, and a few others. The crone, I believe I have on here on my notes to talk about here. So there are many others, but these are the ones that I have learned pretty well, and what I'm excited to be able to share with you today. Just like a little overview of the feminine archetypes for you on this podcast, but also, again, for the women that are joining us for the her experience. This will be like the 2.0 of the feminine archetypes for you. So these archetypes, they've been observed throughout history and across all different cultures. They've been appearing in myths and folktales and in religious texts. They embody certain qualities and characteristics that can be found in women, and this is regardless of their own individual personalities. So any woman essentially can embrace and embody and feel into each of these archetypes. Some of them are going to come easier. Some of them are going to be archetype that you live in pretty much on your daily basis. And some of them are going to be a challenge for you to get into, and something that might feel foreign, or you might feel some resistance to certain of our archetypes. And that's okay. But you deserve it for yourself to feel into the energies of each of these, because they serve as powerful tools for your self-reflection and for personal growth and for exploration into your femininity, which is, really, really what this whole her experience is for. Understanding these archetypes can help you gain insights into your own identities, into motivations, into your behaviors. So again, really, really, really powerful tools for self-reflection and growth. Okay. And as I was saying, it's important to note that not all women fit neatly into a single archetype. And women really can exhibit traits from multiple archetypes depending on their context or their stage of life. And you heard me say, like, the mother archetype. To embody the mother archetype, you don't necessarily need to be a mother yourself, or to embody the seductress archetype, right? Like, you don't need to be this seductive, like slutty. This can also be called like the sacred slut. That's another one of the archetypes, but or a version of one of the archetypes, but that doesn't mean you're just out there like fucking everybody, right? There's an energy. It's the energy behind the woman. So the interpretation and the significance of these archetypes, they also might vary based on different cultures and belief systems that you might have. So I hope that this gave you just kind of a brief overview of the feminine archetypes as we segue into each of these and talk about them a little bit more. And of course, if you have any other further questions, please reach out. I love talking about these things. Absolutely. So I'm happy to answer any questions, of course. And if you're listening to this and you are thinking like, man, I would really love to do the embodiment portion of these calls. I can't make it to the retreat for whatever reason. That's an option. Reach out. I would love to make this work for you. If you're interested in wanting to learn more into the archetypes and be able to embody them and join us in this container that we're creating, I am totally down for that. So shoot me a DM on Instagram. We can talk pricing. We can go over call times, all that. But absolutely, I would love to have you if it's just the calls that you're wanting to participate. And again, that's 6 weeks. So that's September 5th through October 10th would be our last call, because we leave for the retreat on the 12th. I'm just so excited. My dog is looking at me like, woman, why are you making so many noises? I'm trying to take a nap over here. Sorry, Tater Tot. Okay, so let's jump into here. So we are talking through the maiden. Well, I have on my list the maiden, the mother, the wild woman, the lover or the sacred slut, the wise woman, the huntress, the queen, the sorceress. Yeah, sorceress is the last one. And again, we're talking through 6 of these leading up to the retreat. So I'll start with the first one, which is the maiden. And the maiden can be described as thinking of somebody that is in like this, they're very like youthful, innocent, brave, like their innocent era, their discovery era. They are someone that loves pleasure. They love life. They're playful. They're fresh. They're maybe seen as like a social butterfly. They can see the world sort of like through these rose tinted glasses, if you will. So when I think of a maiden, of course, one person that comes to mind for me is Taylor Swift. I love Taylor Swift so much. I'm a huge Swiftie. But I just think of her energy, right? Like she is so playful. I think of her energy in like the Shake It Off music video, or if you ever have just listened to that song, Shake It Off, that's what I think of when I think of the maiden, like dancing around, skipping around, like again, loving life, like shaking it off, like everything is okay. Again, that youthful, innocent, playful, brave, courageous, like these are all words that can describe, think like Disney princess. that's another great explanation of the maiden. So Disney princess, somebody like Snow White, right? Like that's just going through life, like loving all of the flowers and all the animals and calling in all of the love and all of that sort of energy, right? That could be part of that would be maiden energy rather. And so with every feminine archetype, you have sort of the superpower side of it, like the embodiment side of it, and then every archetype also has a shadow side of it. So how the shadow side can be seen as like almost the flip side, right? Like the negative side of this, the how the maiden might be misconstrued, or ways that essentially we can go wrong. I'm using that in air quotes, that we can go wrong within the maiden energy. So oftentimes the maiden might be seen as naive, sort of like this damsel in distress, this waiting to be saved sort of persona, waiting, just again, like the Disney princess, waiting for her prince to come along and like kiss her at midnight and break the spell, like that sort of mentality. So waiting on others to essentially like make everything better for them. And they might be seen as somebody that needs lots of help. They might have a victim mindset in many ways. And they could be codependent or dependent on others in many ways. So that's your shadow side of the maiden energy. So I'm curious, like when you're listening to this, who in your life, either somebody you know or a celebrity of some sort, who would you think of like when I describe this maiden energy? Who comes to mind for you? I'm going to ask you that for each of these. I would love, again, if you're listening to this, shoot me a message on Instagram and let me know. I'd love to have a conversation around this. All right. Let's go into the lover, or the sacred slut. All right. So the lover, and again, like maiden and lover can sort of be kind of similar, but the lover is all about love, right? I think like Marilyn Monroe when I think of the lover. So very sensual, very pleasure driven, like just sees pleasure in everything, seeks pleasure in everything. So this person could be seen as very passionate, very artistic, very creative, known as a creatrix, if you will. And she's driven by that. She's driven by doing what she loves. She's driven by what's beautiful, what brings her pleasure, what is sexy, what is sensual. This is the lover. So again, yeah, I think of Marilyn Monroe. I think of, oh my God, I think of Pamela Anderson in many ways. I don't know if you've ever watched Pam and Tommy on Hulu. That's a great show. I loved that I think that came out like last summer, but I think of Pamela Anderson in many ways. So, uses all parts of herself as this energy, as this magnetism, very charming. And she does this to gain something that she desires. It's like manipulative, but in a good way. And getting control. Yeah, like getting and taking control of something, but for the greater good, for the good, not manipulative or, like snaky in a bad way. It's powerful. It's super powerful. They're leading with their energy. They're confident. They're seducing people, but also life. They're seducing life. She's using her sexual energy. But it's so much more than just sex. It's making herself feel good. It's making others feel good. Yeah, this woman is happy. I mean, go figure, right? She's seeking pleasure in her day-to-day. So she feels taken care of. She prioritizes pleasure. She prioritizes orgasm. Yeah. So good. So very flirtatious, confident, magnetic, empathic, smart, sexy. So good. Lover is one of my favorite archetypes. I love playing in this energy, especially in our meditation / sex session, tension room, whatever you want to call it. But I feel when I'm in that room, that is when I feel like my lover really, really comes alive in that room. And yeah, no matter what we're doing in that room, really. So the shadow side of the lover is that she can need a lot of validation. She feels the need to be admired or the need to be adored. So really, like she needs to be seen. And she may lean too much on her sexuality to gain control. So as I said earlier, like that manipulative in a good way, this can oftentimes go south to where maybe she is seen as deceitful or, manipulating for the not good, for the bad, holding expectations of other, like almost has like this sense of entitlement, may use people, may have an addictive personality, hurtful, reckless. These would all describe the shadow side of the lover archetype. So I'm excited when I think of the embodiment calls and the playlists and stuff that I've put together to lead people and women through these embodiment experiences starting next month. The lover is one of my favorite ones. And I remember actually feeling really awkward in embodying the lover archetype when I was first introduced to these, which was very, very interesting, very introspective for me to be able to think on that a little bit more. And why was I feeling challenged and why was I feeling resistance to this, especially with what I do as my profession, So these will, as you're working through archetypes and learning more about these, like they're going to bring up emotion. They're definitely going to bring up emotion. Okay. All right. The next one, and one that I find myself in personally often, or one that I found my past self in often. I'm going to actually rephrase that. One I found my past self in often because I've done a lot of intentional work lately in the last 2 years really, on slowing down. I won't go into too much detail on that, but let me tell you about this next archetype, which is the huntress. And the huntress, you just think like Katniss fucking Everdeen. Katniss Everdeen, the girl from Divergent series, like all of these, some of these like favorite movies that you might think of, but I definitely think of Katniss Everdeen, especially the huntress. Like she's got her bow, she's fucking shit up, like, yes. So think of literally the huntress, like think of that woman with that bow and arrow, like that high achiever, very goal driven, very ambitious. These people generally are natural leaders, they're activists, they're feminists, they're making a change in the world, they're revolutionaries. So they can be very independent. She gets what she wants. She brings it back. She's victorious. She's athletic. She's wild. She's earthy. Very, very nurturing, very goal driven. Again, like this warrior woman persona. And actually, if you look at Carl Jung's archetypes, this is called the warrior archetype. But when it was introduced to me from my mentor, we called it the huntress. And I like both, but I like huntress better for whatever reason. This huntress archetype, like she knows what she wants. She knows what she's hunting for. She has her eye on the prize in many ways. So she's also a protector, fiercely protects. Again, going back to Katniss Everdeen, like standing up for her sister when her sister's name got called in the reaping and literally sacrificing herself, her own life for the protection of her sister. That is your huntress, like keeping people safe, a risk taker, a little unfiltered, fiercely protecting. So she's got that edge to her. The shadow side of the huntress, and this is where I said like, I started to then experience the shadow side of the huntress and had to make some changes in my life. And that's where I said, learn to slow down. This is where meditation entered my life and breath work and changing up my workouts, like doing my day-to-day a little bit more in that lover mentality, a little bit more in that maiden mentality, and seeking happiness rather than seeking goals, if that makes any sense. So the shadow side of the huntress is that burnout, like really being too independent for their own good, not letting other people in, getting deep into the hustle. This is a big one. I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs listening will probably relate to this huntress archetype. but it's hard for them to ask for help. They're unable to have an open heart. They're often afraid of intimacy. Again, they're afraid of letting go. They're afraid of letting people in. They have difficulty with letting others take the lead. And so they struggle with control. They need to have control. They feel they need to have control. They struggle with letting go of control. And they can become a bit unavailable, sometimes seen as a loner, an introvert, if you will, not really focusing on love, not focusing in the stage of building, and sometimes can be mean, just mean and hard, rash in many ways, and that's because of the protectiveness. And again, yeah, just a bit dangerous and edgy in some ways. So I have a quote for you for this archetype. It's by Nikita Gill. Some days I am more wolf than women. Oh my gosh, let me not butcher this. Some days I am more wolf than woman, and I'm still learning how to stop apologizing for my wild, by Nikita Gill. That's a good one. I like this. More wolf than woman. Like sometimes as women, if you're bodying this archetype, like you feel like you do. It's like that wolf energy, like you want something so bad, you have your eyes set on it so much, it's like you're going to do anything, no one's going to get in your way of doing that. And I hear, like, speaking this, like I hear all the benefits of that and having that mentality, but it can certainly get off track, and I know I'm a testament to that. And yeah, if you're not embodying the maiden side of you or the lover side of you, and you're only kind of in this huntress energy, it's not gonna serve you for a long, long time. All right. Then we have, okay, let's see, which next one do I want to go through? Yeah, I don't want to cover them all. I want to leave some curiosity and mysteriousness to the eye, or to the ear rather in this case. So let's see. I want to do, all right, I got Queen left. I got Sorceress left. I got Wise Woman left, Wild Woman left. Let's do, how are we doing on time here? All right, we're 28 minutes in. I want to do the Sorceress. Yeah, I want to do the Sorceress. Sorceress is another one that I feel I'm able to embody quite often, and also feel some resistance to embodying her at times. The Sorceress is intuitive. She's magical. She's open-minded. She sees beauty in everything. She's very connected to spirit. She's the ultimate manifester. Essentially, she is a witch. She's a visionary. She can see. She's intuitive. She believes in and she creates magic every single day. And I find, for me personally, and you might again feel this with some of the archetypes too, but I find that it's like I can turn it on, like this archetype, for instance, I can turn on my Sorceress, but it's not one that I feel like I'm not in my Sorceress in my day-to-day, or like through, it's not my go-to, if that makes sense. My go-to for my constant, if you will. But when it's on, it's on. Like when the Sorceress part of me is on, she is ready. She is in it. She is engulfed in that. So yeah. So again, a very visionary, very, again, manifester, truth teller, can turn, just like really creates magic for her life. She can create from a blank slate. She's very mysterious. She's very powerful. So yeah, the Sorceress, just think of like that witchy energy. I'd be curious who comes up for you when you think of Sorceress. I think of myself in a lot of ways, like when I'm getting in my magic stuff and my creation and my letting my creatrix show up and be free. I think of myself in many ways for this one. I think of my mentors, a few of my mentors, in creating, and some people and influencers that I follow rather on social media. I think of them when I think of sorceress. Chelsea Adair, who is somebody that I had on the podcast. I think of her. I think of Joe Miller. I think of my friend Jordan Donnell. I think of, let's see, sorceress. Yeah. Yeah. I think of my friend Jenna. I think of some people. So the shadow side of the sorceress is that she can have a darkness to her. She can be secretive. She can be manipulative or malicious, or even self-centered. She may be fearful of what's to come or fearful of what it is that she's trying to create. And sometimes she can only think of herself. So she can become very self-absorbed, very me sort of focused. So another quote for you on this one: those who do not believe in magic will never find it. And that is from Roald Dahl. And another one is, you've always had the power, my dear. You just had to learn it yourself. Glenda the Witch. Yes, love that one. You've always had the power, my dear. You just had to learn it for yourself. So, so good. I feel like that is a great place to end because this, I just think, again, I have done so many meditations and vision and visualization practices around this retreat, and I can literally see the faces of the women that are sitting amongst me at this experience. And that's what we're doing. That we are teaching. I'm teaching you the magic. Like, I'm teaching you how to create magic for yourself. And for many of you, it's going to be the first time hearing about anything like what we're going to be experiencing and diving into. And I honor that. And I remember being that person and going through these experiences and feeling the nervous and feeling anxious and feeling worried and feeling fearful, terrified, tearful, vulnerable. These are all words that I can say, and feelings that I can say that I've felt during these experiences. And coming through them, I have felt uplifted, enlightened, inspired, loved, supported, held, seen. I mean, the words that I can come up with that from the other end, like coming out in an experience like this, they trump all of the worry, all of the anxiousness that I was feeling going into the experience. And to be able to overcome those experiences through embodying and embracing those feelings that I was having, like, all the more special, all the more magic. I let myself feel into the anxiousness. I let myself feel into the worry. I expressed to women that were in these experiences how I was feeling, and allowed myself to be seen. I allowed myself to be put out there. And it's scary as fuck. I validate that. It is scary as fuck to be vulnerable and to do something like this and to go on a trip like this. I get it. But I'm telling you, these experiences like these have been a huge part of my transformation and of my growth, of my healing. And I'm just, again, ecstatic to be able to offer this to other women, to 10 women, in fact, 10 women that decide to say yes to this experience. I can't wait to see who you are. I can see your faces. Again, I can visualize your faces. I might not have a name to the face, but I can see your faces amongst me. And I'm excited to see how this unfolds. So the link, of course, is in the show notes. If you follow me on social media, the link is in the bio to the Her Retreat. If you are considering joining us, I would love to have you. I will also pop a link here for if you want to set up a consultation call, if you have more questions about the retreat, if you just need to talk through it, need to talk through some of those insecurities or some of those scared feelings, those fearful things. Let's get on a call together. Let's talk through it. And we'll be honest with you. If I think that it's not going to be a good fit for you, I'll tell you that. But I'm going to say, in most cases, I do think that every woman listening can benefit from an experience like this, for sure, for sure. So, all right, I'll pop that link too for the call if you want to jump on a call, chat. get to know more about the retreat, whatever you want, but you can definitely visit the link in the bio. And if you want to go to rachelmaine.com, search work with me, go to the Her Retreat. That's another easy way to find it. So thank you all for listening. I hope that you enjoyed these feminine archetypes as much as I do. I'm excited in just a few weeks to be able to play in some of these energies with some women. And it gets to be fun. Gets to be fucking fun, this work. So, all right, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Have a great one.